Hey OIG family, welcome back to another exciting episode in our AMA series. Today I'm joined by Doman and Nino from APILLON, and we're going to talk about the many ways that APILLON aims to solve certain things within the industry. So, Nino and Doman, welcome to the show. How are you guys today?
Perfect.
We're good, man. Thanks for inviting us. Cheers.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you guys and let's just start with a bit of an introduction with who you guys are. Nino, why don't you start with, your journey leading up to joining APILLON and how it's prepared you for this?
Thanks for this question. I've been in crypto since 2016. At first, I started with my own ICO back in the day, which after a year proven to be, let's say middle successful. And then, I had some other issues and we just had to shut it down and we basically returned what was remaining of the money via the airdrop. Soon after that, I joined the Economy, which is quite popular European ICO, also from I think 2016. I was there for 3.5 years. Company is all about crypto strategy, so it's like crypto fund management, copy trading, etc. After a while, I got enough of selling Bitcoin to people, and I was looking at Web3 all along, and I had this opportunity to join Trail or APILLON today, and I took it, and it's been a great ride so far.
Awesome. And Doman?
Yeah, so I also started with the blockchain world back in 2016. I was actually working on the ICO of Economy, where Nino came on board a bit later. I think it was 17th or 16th ICO in the world, so it was really, really early days of crypto and blockchain. After that, I worked on some other crypto startups. I created my own marketing and PR company, worked with Uber in Europe, Hisense Europe. I've been a partner of KPMG, so we've had quite a lot of success. But I was really, really missing the blockchain world, the Web3 ecosystem, and this crazy hyped, really quick environment. So I was all the time looking at coming back into this world. So when I saw the opportunity to co-found Otrail or APILLON right now, as it is right now, I took it, and there was 6 of us co-founders. We've been working for 2 years now in the direction. So after Nino joined us, it really made everything so much more sense with his knowledge of execution in the product. So yeah, here we are, and really thank you for having us here on this AMA, and looking forward to the questions.
For sure. And you make a good point, like just with the fact that both of you guys were, very early on in the space, and just the fact that it is an exciting space. It really has this draw on people to really you can't let go, right? So that's something I've experienced myself. And so let's get into really into the meat and potatoes, if you could say that, that of APILLON. So you know, for people joining, they've probably seen our first AMA interview with Matias about the about Trail, as it was formerly known as. But I guess for everybody joining in now and watching again, what is APILLON?
So it's a Web3 development platform built on top of Polkadot's parachains. It integrates different functionalities of parachains. So let's say identity by Kilt, computation by Fala, hosting by Crust in the beta version, and we're gonna add different parachains and different functionalities as the product evolves. But it's all about making development, Web3 development, easier, faster, and in essence, better experience for the developers. So it's actually gonna boost the adoption of Web3. It's gonna, our aim is to bring Web2 developers and give them the tool so they can build decentralized apps the same way as they did in the Web2 world.
For sure. And bridging that gap between Web 2 and Web 3 by giving the necessary tools is so important and so key. And obviously that's a very competitive market too, because that's the turning point of adoption, right? So what would you say, is the features that separate you between your the rest of the competition?
Um, yeah, well, first of all, it's very hard to define, what exactly is a narrow competition nowadays. We know Infura from back in the day, we know Alchemy, we know Moralis, we know QuickNote. All of those companies are saying we're Web3 development platforms, right? So all of them have APIs, all of them have documentation, all of them give you guarantees that you're going to be able to develop like you would in Web2. Yet it boils down to the fact that most of them are just hosted nodes on demand, right? Because if you want to develop something on blockchain, you need an access to a node, which you will then, either query or use to deploy your smart contract, or use to call the functions from smart contracts. And running nodes, it's tricky. It takes time. It takes knowledge. It's an upkeep. So a lot of these companies that we're talking about are all about running nodes on demand in exchange, of course, for some money. And this is very popular right now. And they're, of course, abstracting the functionalities to simple APIs, etc. But the difference is nowadays you cannot go to Alchemy and push a photo to Web3 IPFS storage. You simply cannot. That's not the functionality. You can deploy a smart contract and call it, but you cannot save photo to a Web3 storage, or you cannot, necessarily create a Web3 identity, or you cannot call compute power, which is, from trusted execution environment. So this is the key difference. What we do, we are not, just another node provider where you can deploy and query. We are completely something else. We provide you infrastructure, every single how to say block that a developer would need in a typical situation coming from Web 2. We have it, and it comes with a Web3 signature. So it is very specific for Polkadot and their parachains, that they are so focused on their own thing that they become really tangible services. Like Domen said in the beginning, we have killed for identity. So what is identity? It means, like, if you have an application where you want your users to be able to create an account and log in, we don't build this ourselves. We go to Kilt, which are professionals at doing this specific thing in Web3. We integrate it, we give you API, and you basically generate users like you would in Web2. And this logic then extends on all the parachains that we're looking to integrate. So I think we have quite unique value proposition from this perspective. Morales did touch few of those things on their own, though few of their solutions are also semi-centralized. But yeah, it's becoming, the field is becoming bigger and bigger. It's once you have really good parachains like Polkadot has, really specialized, someone will come up with a similar idea soon. So we are expecting competition really soon.
Yeah, no, and like, just to touch on the part that you said where you have infrastructure for pretty much every step of the way of development. This is so key. Like we've mentioned prior, it's just there's not much for developers right now, and obviously that's going to change. And then also, touching on the part of integration, and having the best integration with regards to nodes. This means that you're really in a dynamic playground for achieving your goals with respect to certain projects and whatnot. But let's take a step back and talk about the rebranding for everybody that's watched the previous AMA. Obviously back then you guys were called Auth Trail. Now it's APILLON. So why the name change? What else has changed? In terms of vision and what's the cause for the rebranding?
Yeah, so the story behind Authtrail was providing data integrity to enterprise clients. So it was traceability. It's stem in the name, but once we saw um, that in the ecosystem there's the need for the tool, as Nino described, that provides easier and faster Web3 development. We said, okay, let's do a big, um, wider platform or a bit broader project. And of course, then do the name wasn't there for the project. So once we had the new mission, the new vision for the project, we said, okay, let's go into the rebranding. APILLON came from the word papillon. It's the butterfly. So it's the story of a butterfly. I know that coming from the bulb to the butterfly. It's like evolving from Web 1 to Web 2 to Web 3. Um, Same goes for the APIs. It's already in the name. So um, yeah, we thought that it better represents our current vision. It better represents our mission. We want to bring Web2 developers into the Web3, make it easier, make their path and the transition easier. Um, but the team stayed the same. We're still the same guys working on the project. Matthias is still the CEO of the company. We're still here, and we had our goals, to bring blockchain to the doorsteps of enterprise business at that time. Right now, it's our vision to create decentralized future, to provide the developers with the platform that will, just simplify their work. And yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned that your teams stayed consistent throughout the changes. Have you gotten anybody to join aside from the core team? I mean, you mentioned Nino joined as a CPO. Was this before or after the Auth Trail name change, or?
I think you joined us before the name change and was an integral part of this change, because obviously with the transition from the product that we envisioned at that time and to the product that we're building right now, um, it was it was under Nino's guidance and the idea behind it. So it was like a collaboration between us all. I think it was a really cool step. I think it was a really necessary step, and I think it made us even, in some words, bigger than before, because um, as you said, there's the need for the product like this. We've got I think some really cool people working on it. We added some really cool developers to the team. Um, but yeah, apart from that, the core team stayed the same, and yeah, we're gonna continue to work on it.
So, which is great for existing users and existing people within the community that recognize the rest of the core team. So no, it's something that a friendly face can really bring you some peace when it comes to knowing that the project is in good hands. So let's switch gears here for a bit and go over to our Twitter questions. Now these are selected prior to our recording, and we have a couple questions here. The first one comes from Droine, if I'm saying that correctly. And the question reads, one of the main problems with smart contracts today is that there's a very high risk of bugs that allow hackers to steal the funds and incur significant losses for projects and its users. Can you tell us about the solutions that you offer to prevent this?
Yeah, so first of all, a little bit of context on how you actually interact with smart contracts or how you use smart contracts on Appillon. Recently, we have integrated Moonbeam, which is a smart contract platform on Polkadot, which allows you to deploy EVM compatible smart contracts and you use them, right? So our vision on, since we're a platform, we don't go into the details on how you're gonna develop your stuff. We provide you with the infrastructure, with some good samples, and then you deploy whatever you have built. But yes, starting with Moonbeam, we're mostly supporting really good, how to say, proven and audited smart contracts from Open Zeppelin, which is very known. And usually these smart contracts are standard, like ERC 721, ERC 20, etc. And those smart contracts are audited, and there are no bugs in those smart contracts, and you can choose those, deploy them, and immediately start using them. And they're immediately also connected to our storage. So for example, if you want to deploy your NFT collection, you can do it. But then, if a developer chooses to write their own, of course, the responsibility is on the developer, not on the platform. It's unrealistic to say, a platform is able to audit all the smart contracts which are deployed via the platform. It's impossible. So I would say, um, human errors are a constant. It's something that we will always have. It's part of us. And auditing and standardization and error prevention. It's something. It's a way to approach smart contracts, which means spending a lot of money. So I would say, like, before you interact with a smart contract, always do your research, like how much time and money was invested into this smart contract, who audited it, if even was audited, and then proceed. Also, some smart contracts are iterations of smart contracts which are out there for years and have not been broken. So yeah, APILLON does not solve human errors in smart contracts, and we do not intend to. But yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, and it's a very good thing to make a key distinction between, or where, in terms of where the responsibility lies, and it's good to, for users to understand that you still have a role to play in any smart contract deployment. Like it's not turnkey, and in a sense it is turnkey, but in another sense there's still a lot more that you have to do your own research for.
Exactly.
So let's go on to the second question here. And this one comes from Mixas. And this person asks, "Hi team, there's a demand for AI in the community right now. So my question is, how is Apollon going to work in this direction? And is it going to work in that direction at all?" And on that question, I think Apollon will take the top spot in the entire Polkadot parachains. Thanks for the reply.
Um, yeah, so definitely we hope to be important player in Polkadot. We are not a parachain. We are utilizing all existing parachains, but definitely once we connect more of them, we will be important for all the developers out there. And on the question of AI, so right now we do not have AI ideas or functionalities in our roadmap. We're really focused on our core product, on our core concept, which is interconnecting several parachains and just focusing on how the developers can start immediately building, how can we utilize all the underlying payments, etc., etc. While there is a Fala network, it's one of the parachains which provides trusted execution environment, which could be really crucial thing in the future of AI, simply because like, where do you store a database which is used then to build the AI models? How is this built? Is it computed like centrally, or is it computed in a decentralized way? Can someone, when I ask something AI to the AI, is it possible that a human has taken over, and my answer is being delivered from a human, actually, at that specific point? In a centralized AI solutions, we will never actually be able to trust that. While moving AI to Web3, it gives us a sense of, this is actually AI working in the background. There are no, fishy questions, etc., etc. So it gives us trust. So from my perspective, I would say, once we are done, like let's say in a year, once we have all the parachains hooked up, you would be able to build a Web3 AI on APILLON, even though it is not our core mission, but the infrastructure will be there.
Yeah, definitely the infrastructure will be there, and just touching on that point of accuracy and how it depends on a true decentralized environment, right? So to
Yes,
like we talked about earlier too, there is always the existence of human error. So that's the one way we can avoid that. Great.
indeed.
So now we come to our last question. And this question's from Lexon. Lexon asks, partnership is always an important factor for every project. So, who is your partners and what are benefits you get from those relationships?
In terms of partnerships, we actually more have integration. So it's like integration partners with us. We've said a couple of names before in this talk. So we've got different Polkadot parachains such as Fala, Crust, Moonbeam. As Nino said, as the product evolve, as we grow, we're gonna add more additional parachains and different projects from the Polkadot ecosystem. So as we grow, we're gonna announce quite a lot of integrations, partnerships with other parachains, with other functionalities. But yeah, obviously, we see ourselves as the integral part of the Polkadot ecosystem. We just came from Denver, from ETH Denver, one of the biggest crypto events in US, and we've been lucky enough to be given a spot at the Polkadot booth. So we are there in the in the heart of the ecosystem, in the heart of the Polkadot, in the heart of Polkadot. So yeah, we will be adding multiple partnerships and partners to the platform. But as I said, we don't want to rush. We don't want to have it as only a marketing strategy, or only a marketing push, but to be coming from the product itself. So on one side, we're going to be adding a lot of different functionalities to the product, but on the other side, as we move forward with the product, to build their products with it. So we're going to be delivering from this side, from the BD side as well. So when you ask what we get, obviously, um, what when we're talking about partners, we're talking about the core functionalities of the APILLON platform. So we get identity by Kilt and so on. So um, yeah, on one side we get the recognition and the functionalities. On the other side, we're gonna get users. So it's a win-win win-win road, and APILLON to be in the middle of it. It's really cool feeling.
Yeah, and I'm sure our viewers can notice a common theme here with regards to the Apollon's focus on product development. You're looking to achieve a quality product. You're not looking to, like you said, you just use it as a marketing campaign. These are real evolutionary steps that you're taking within the project's development to really give something that provides value instead of, these words, these hype words that we see all the time in marketing within this landscape. So it's great to see that. So that concludes our Twitter question segment, and we're gonna conclude here with a couple more questions about your roadmap. So, it's been a while since we last spoke, and what are some of the great achievements you've achieved since then, and what are some that you're looking forward to, some milestones you're looking forward to in terms of your roadmap looking forward?
Yeah, so from the roadmap, I'm so excited about this question, man. So to go really slightly backwards. The first line of code for Apilon, as it currently states, was written in September. So basically, in September, I think I joined the team end of August, something like that. In September, we started off with first wireframes, like defining which parachains are going first, checking out their documentation, their functionality, the scope of, how can this actually work. And Yeah, so we had to basically write the whole platform in the background with the microservices before even touching the blockchain part, like, before even integrating any of the parachains.
Hmm.
So we did, some sort of estimate like this, shooting with the developers, like when could we see, first closed beta, etc. And we were talking about January 2023. And to be like, super happy about it, especially if you're, product guy like myself, I can say we managed to get it. Like, in the last week of January, we sent out an email, closed beta has started, and our Crust integration came out with storage buckets and with hosting, which essentially, immediately allows anyone out there to come to APILLON, create free account, and drag and drop their website, connect the domain, and suddenly your website is hosted from Web3, right?
Wow.
So we managed to build all this together in such a brief time. Also with the polished, UI, with API, with all the documentation needed, and tested to the point where you can actually work. Even though we are keeping it still in beta access, it works quite well. So next thing to this, we added Moonbeam a week before going to Denver to eat Denver, which now shows that not only you can deploy a smart contract, but you can also store the NFT metadata and NFT images. For example, if you're doing a visual NFTs, um, in our storage buckets. So all of a sudden we have two completely separate parachains which are connected seamlessly within our platform. So you can basically, drag metadata and pictures, and once you deploy the smart contracts, you choose those pictures and you mint the NFTs. So this is the point where our products is starting to show how we're thinking. We're thinking in an interoperable way, not even touching the interoperability. We are essentially what we do, we are connecting to each parachain on their own, figuring out the logic, translating the logic to something more simpler, and documenting it, and then thinking like, how can this parachain interact with the others so it will make sense from the use case. So yeah, I think this is the most important step that we achieved, because it shows how we're thinking and what we can bring in the future. And what the most exciting thing will be is once we have, Fala and Kilt added to those two parachains, then you have all four. I would say this is like our MVP. This is the minimum a developer would need to be able to build like Web3 Instagram, if you want, or whatever dApp you can, or whatever clone of some popular application in Web2, you will be able to build it. So this is the most exciting moment for APILLON in the future. It's gonna come in next few months, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
And like that's some exciting thing to hear, just with the MVP potentially opening the gateway to so much opportunity, right? And you mentioned a couple months, and I'm sure our viewers are itching to find out, when exactly. Do you have any specific dates coming up that?
I I think a lot of this will be done in Q2.
Okay.
So by the end of Q2, because a lot of these services are like, I would say 80 to 90% done, right? So um, we have like prototypes which are not integrated still into the platform, but standalone they are working, and we are now looking for integration and testing and so on. So if we are as good as in estimating in the future as we were in the past, then by the end of Q2 those services will be integrated.
Now that's some
Yeah,
really exciting. Yeah,
and
sorry.
what Nino doesn't and what Nino doesn't say, it's we already have a closed beta running. We already have approximately 500 devs
Wow.
registered to the platform, and we were just in it Denver and talking to one of the early beta testers, and he said that we are a UX gift to the Polkadot, and we actually are. We are a layer on top of parachains, and we bring usability to the ecosystem. So um, we are the adoption layer of Polkadot, and it brings us really great joy to be working with devs to be talking to them right now one on one, getting their responses about the platform. So yeah, it's not only the product, but it's bringing the real users to the ecosystem. That's something that it's really cool to be working on right now.
That
And so,
yeah.
sorry.
No, no, it's
I'm
okay.
so glad to have marketing with me today, because when I'm asked a product question, I will talk about it for hours and then forget obviously the most important stuff,
Yeah.
which is of course people are already working something on the platform, right? So yeah, thank you, Norman, for jumping in here.
No, and it's good to have both of you here today. Just even Domin, with what you said, being the adoption layer of Polkadot. That's something that's I don't think has ever been said before, right? And that with today's show, I think we have a really good idea of what the finished product should look like and what it will enable, as well as the ease of facilitating it to all the developers. And it's great to hear that there's a closed beta right now that's ongoing with 500 developers. I mean, that's an insane number, and like there's a lot of strides taking to creating this product that we're all eager to see. So, again, thank you so much for sharing your time and knowledge on APILLON, and with all our viewers here today. Where can they go to see more of APILLON?
Go to apillon.io. Go to click the platform. Go check it out. It's really cool. You can join us on our Discord, Telegram channel. Follow us on our Twitter channel. Yeah, I know. I think that there's gonna be a link somewhere in the video or below, so the viewers can click and check it out firsthand. But yeah, thanks for having us today. It's really the product grew since the last when we were guests here. The last time I think it was over 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're really bullish on Polkadot as an ecosystem, and obviously we think that being this let's say adoption layer, or being someone that can bring devs to the ecosystem, we're obviously bullish on APILLON. So yeah, come and check it out.
Awesome, awesome. And yeah, as Domin said, all the links will be in the description below. And I really encourage everybody to follow and subscribe to to APILLON, and to see what news is coming out from them, because it sounds like we're very close. We're just at the tip of the iceberg on what could be a revolutionary product. Once again, Nino, Domin, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you soon, and we're excited.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much. Thank you.